Yeah, this one's cool. It was cool to see this come up on my feed because we talked about this, 2 weeks ago, right? In our most recent episode, I think. And a new carbon capture technology has been announced by a company called Graphyte. Okay, that's Graphyte with a Y. It's a startup that just came out of stealth mode, and it's backed by Bill Gates's venture capital fund that specifically supports climate change-based startups. So it has a process that is coming out with called carbon casting. The way that it works is it uses byproducts from wood and crops that would otherwise be left to decompose, and the company dehydrates those materials to kill the microbes that decompose them so they can use the materials. They compress the materials into really tight blocks, and then the blocks absorb CO2 in photosynthesis the same way that plants do, that all this organic material does before it starts to decompose. And so then those blocks are wrapped in this impermeable barrier so that none of the carbon dioxide can get out of it, and then they're stored underground. So this is a completely novel method. And part of the reason that it's really exciting, if it works, is it claims to remove CO2 from the air at under $100 per ton.
Wow, that's a huge difference from the other company we were talking about.
Exactly. Everything we've heard about before sees CO2 being taken out of the air at costs of around $1,000 per ton.
I think Heirloom at their best right now was like $650 a ton.
Exactly. So we're talking about a 6-fold plus reduction in cost. And this has always been one of the biggest obstacles that people have talked about when they discuss carbon capture. So it's really exciting. It stores carbon for over 1,000 years. And apparently they're ready to scale today and can do so without major obstacles. There are already companies that it has some of its first buyers. I forget, it was one of the major airlines, which we also talked about airlines being
Was it
big
Airbus
customers.
that was also doing this?
I don't think it's Airbus for this.
Okay.
It might be American.
Okay.
But as companies want to start offsetting their carbon emissions, companies like Graphyte are going to get a lot of income coming in. So yeah, I think it's exciting.
No, I think, listen, the fact that it's coming from the venture capital firm pushed by, Bill Gates and stuff, that means that it's coming from a good place. We talk about all the time the danger of carbon capture is that it's going to be used by oil companies to offset their increases in oil production.
Yeah.
And that can't be the goal of carbon capture. Carbon capture must be to undo the damages of the past, not allow more damages in the future.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm happy to see it coming out of like a venture capital firm that has the resources it needs, because that means it's not going to get bought out by one of these oil companies. Because we talk about all the time, these oil companies will just swoop in and buy up these small carbon capture companies when they seem like they're making progress, and then kind of just put them into their larger evil empire conglomerate of earth and oil destruction.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm hopeful, at least. Like, you would hope that if a bigger company comes along and they're like, we want to buy you out, then maybe they go back to the Gates-led venture capital firm and they say, hey, we got this offer. Maybe they can find ways around that. Maybe they're not completely incentivized only by the profit motive.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah,
Right?
because listen, carbon capture is awesome because of all the, there are tax credit involved for these things to make money. There are, companies have net zero goals that they need to meet. So they will be purchasing carbon credits from these companies. But the only way I think, and we talk about this again, for these companies to really become an integral part of our larger economic conversation is if we implement a cap and trade system.
Yeah.
Where, they are producing carbon coins basically that can be traded on the market and can, you can sell the right to burn 1,000 tons of carbon because this company is sucking 1,000 tons of carbon out.
Yeah.
So if they could sell that right to somebody else, that would make it even more commercially viable.
Yeah, exactly. And that'll be better in helping achieve our net zero goals, because then we can cap it at a certain amount of emissions and slowly bring that cap down to zero.
Right.
I'm good there.
I'm good there.
Cool.
All right.